Welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate and Stuff. Today I am together here with Carlos. You know him from Care/Investor Fuse, and John Whitfield, also from Care/Investor Fuse. I'm Brandon Pedersen. And man, we have today a guest. He is no stranger to real estate. David Olds has been in the business for 23 years. He has went from literally having $0 to building over multiple $1 million rental portfolio. And about 5 years ago, he started a nationwide virtual transaction coordination company that honestly everybody in the industry talks about and uses. He has closed over 100 million, yes, $100 million in real estate transactions for his clients, closed over 2,000 files, which is why most people call him the godfather of real estate transactions. David, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, guys. So happy to be here, man. Excited.
Oof, 23 years.
23, a ridiculous amount of time. Stupid. Too stupid to quit. Too dumb to quit.
I'll tell you what, when I see 10 years, 15, 20, and then you hear somebody's been broke and they made it all back.
Yeah.
That really speaks to character, grit, and experience, which I believe translates into wisdom, because you got so many people, dude, like you're in this business and it's like you got a lot of people in it 5 years, 6 years, so everyone's teaching somebody something, but until you've been through the ringer a few times, a couple decades, some cycles and stuff,
a lot of long nights in 23 years.
What'd you start out? I just want to start the convo out because I know it says, when we had talked, like you went from nothing to something, obviously, but like what made you get into it, and then like how'd that start where you lost everything?
Sure. Well, yeah. So, I mean, it didn't start like that. When I began, it was 2002. Bought my first house. It was a foreclosure. Had no idea what a foreclosure even was. Didn't realize it was a foreclosure until after the closing. When I asked my realtor, why did it say Wells Fargo on the paperwork? And she's like, well, dummy, it was a foreclosure. I'm like, oh, that's why nobody showed up at the closing table, because I had thought it was going to be like TV where you're sitting there across from somebody. But yeah, bought that house, had just gotten married. So we were buying a house for ourselves. And I grew up, my dad was the house fix-it guy and all that stuff. He wasn't a contractor or anything. It was just the thing we did on the side, and remodeling and repairs of our own place. So moved in there. And I also worked for a home improvement store and 84 Lumber and Pro Build, all those types of people. So
84 Lumber.
Yeah, man, love them. So I had moved into this house and I had access to things, right? Like doors and molding and all those types of things. So I just went in and we improved the house, right? Took out the carpet, put in laminate, took out the sliding glass door, put in French doors, added a big patio, put upgraded moldings in the house. And I wanted to move a couple years later to be closer to my new job. So we sold it and we made like $50,000 in 2 years. And my same realtor, going into closing, she says, hey, this is tax-free money, right? I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, dummy. She called me dummy a lot. She says, this is, you've lived in it for 2 years. So it's a homestead exemption. So you don't have to pay taxes on it. I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like that was one thing that really stuck in my mind. So we went and bought like the ugliest house in a big, beautiful neighborhood. I can't remember where exactly in time, but at one point I had bought, it was definitely on that second house. I was at the airport kicking around and I bought this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which the most cliche thing ever, which absolutely changed my life. And from there that got me to the local RIA in Orlando. And from there, going to all the meetups and the boot camps. And
this was in Florida. This was in Florida.
Yeah, dude, I started in Orlando. Yeah, I was at CFRI.
Okay.
So yeah. So life was good, right? I had a great job. I was, back then, probably making $70,000, $80,000 a year, which is pretty good back then. It's well over six figures now. My wife was at the time, she was a purchasing manager and assistant superintendent for a custom home builder. So we were making good dough, and we started flipping houses, just as kind of our side gig, the thing we did at nights and weekends. And that was good, learned how to buy subject to, and, just learn some different strategies. And we did, I don't know, man, 8 or 10 of them, over those next few years until, 2009, when the world ended. And especially for real estate in Florida. So, for us, buying houses were near impossible. We did buy our last property in 2008, but, we knew things were getting kind of rough. And our plan was we wanted to get more into rentals, right? That's the goal, right? Everybody wants to play Monopoly. And, I was going to seminars and boot camps. I went to one up in Boston from a guy named Dave Lindahl, and his thing was apartments and emerging markets. But anyways, so in Florida now I'm a salesman for ProBuild, and it got very difficult to start selling building materials as the market's crashing. And we dealt with a lot of track builders like Lennar and Pulte and
they got hit.
all these, DR Horton, all the big guys, and they were like, dude, it was getting bad. Like they had, Levitt Homes had a subdivision of like 1,000 lots, and it was like the desert, man. It was just dust blowing around. Like nobody was out there working. Like it just got so bad. Eventually I ended up getting laid off. She got laid off. I did a little stint with 84 Lumber, but we knew we had to leave and go do something else somewhere. So that was basically, we ran all that money we made on those flips. Like nobody ever saves that.
No, they don't.
They're barely paying taxes.
I love that you said that, bro. I love that you said that because I was there. Like,
yeah, dude.
Never gonna end. Yeah, never gonna
like
end.
this goes forever. And this is what people thought a few years ago too, right? But no, dude, even when you make $100,000 and we made close to that on a couple of flips, like it's vacations, it's TVs, it's new car, and stuff you can burn through $100,000 like that. It's 200 here, 600 there.
Yeah.
And you think it will never end, right? And when it's bad, you think it will never end too. But
how old were you?
Oh man, I'm 54 now, so that was 23 years ago.
I was
31, early 30s, yeah. Okay. So yeah, great little deal. Every so often we were getting these big pops of cash, and I had a great job at the time. But then it basically all came to an end in 2009. So we bought this last house in Deltona, Florida. It's 742 Trafalgar Street, and you guys tell me, deal or no deal. So it's a little ranch house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage. I bought it was a probate deal. I bought it for $97,000. The exact house, 1 block over, 2 blocks down, just sold for $214,000. That's a deal, right? We all are buying that every single day.
Yeah. In that moment, knowing what we know now about what happened a few months later.
Hindsight, right? Yeah. If I'd known yesterday I shouldn't have had those Oreos. It'd be great too. But anyways, so I buy this property, and back then I was younger, a lot more energy, skinnier, and this was going to be the last house we did, and because all the other ones had been selling, right? Remember, this is August of 08, and so the crash hadn't happened yet. We can definitely talk about, like, everybody should have seen that crash coming. None of us did, not the gurus, nobody. But I finished it in October. And I called my realtor, and she's like, oh, now's not the best time to put it on the market. It's the holidays are coming. You don't want a bunch of days on market. Why don't we just wait till January? I'm like, okay. Dude, it just got worse, right? So January comes around, and like the 3rd of January, I call her. I'm like all excited. And because we were going to move to Chattanooga. We had already been going back and forth a little bit and looking at stuff. Didn't know anybody here, but we picked it, just based off of real estate. So she comes in and January of 09. There's no iPads, no laptops, nobody's got Facebook or Google, right? So she comes with the binder, and I'm like, awesome. Her name was Shayna. I'm like, so Shayna, what can we do here? She's like, well, so I've looked at all the other properties that have sold. I'm like, okay, great. She says, well, there's this one and this one and this one, and they're foreclosures. And she's showing me pictures of these houses that are just like left behind, just terrible. I'm like, okay. And like, I wasn't a wholesaler back then. I had no idea how it all worked. And I mean, I knew how it worked, but like, I wasn't a wholesaler. So anyways, I said, okay, so what do you think we can sell it for? She's like, well, probably like 145. I'm like, wait a second, Shayna, 1 block over, 2 blocks down, 214. She goes, yeah, that was then. I'm like, that was 6 months ago. She's like, yeah, but all these properties. I'm like, yeah, but those are foreclosures, because I'm so smart. I'm like, no, my house is nicer. She's like, yeah, it looks great. You did a good job. I'm like, thank you.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody cares. I'm like I am stunned. This is the first time. This is like you've just thrown cold water on me.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So, and this is even before, like, I hate mainstream media. I hate that term, but like before it was like real estate is dead. Like it just hadn't quite happened yet. And I'm like, Well, no, no. So we talked for a little bit, and finally, I'm like, okay, look, I got to sell this thing. I've already given notice at my job at 84 Lumber. Um, how about? And I thought I was being the most magnanimous SOB that's ever walked the face of the earth. I'm like, we'll put it out at like it's either like 155 or 157. And she just deadpans me. She's like, okay. She's a listing broker. She doesn't care, right? She's leaving there with a signed contract and putting a sign in the yard. So, so I'm like, well, that was weird, but okay. So the month of January goes, and dude, I've sold houses, right? Like, I thought I was a professional, but so January goes by, not one call, not a call, not a showing, nothing. So at the end of January, I'm like, hey, what do you think we should do? She's like, well, I mean, you might need to lower the price a little. Now, every other house before this, lowering the price a little was like 2,000, maybe 3,000, right? And I'm like, okay, well, God, do you really think it's 147? She's like, oh no,
It's like 130.
no. I'm like, well, what do you think it is? She's like, dude, it's probably like 135. I'm like, no. I mean, it's 30 days, guys, 30 days. So this is why when people now talk about the market crashing, it just blows my mind. I'm like, you guys don't even have any idea what a crash is. I say, okay. I'm like, well, again, still hasn't sunk in because I'm so smart. I'm like, I'll do like 147 or 149. I wish I could pull it up because I can never exactly remember. And she's like, okay. So the month of February goes by, still not a showing. I also had like a 16-year-old son, and keeping his room clean and being ready for showings every day is a pain in the butt. So at the end of February, I'm like, oh my God, Shayna, like what are we gonna do? What like I got to get this thing sold. Like time's running out. Like I moved to 84 Lumber, knew I was leaving in like May. So she's like, well, like what's the number? Now we're in the 120s. I'm like, no, just no, I can't. I just can't. I just can't do that. Like I had probably put 15,000 into it plus all my own work. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to take this thing off the market. And so now I'm like, well, what am I gonna do? Or maybe I didn't take it off the market, but I've said I have to do something to sell this. So I went back and again, 10 years, 8 years, whatever that was at the RIA, going to all the meetings. I'm like, well, maybe I could lease option it, because this is what they were talking about at the RIA meetings. Right now, lease options are kind of popular because people are losing jobs. So I went out and bought a bunch of bandit signs and made handwritten signs that said, 3-2 Deltona, owner will finance $5,000 down. So I put those all around the house. I put out probably like 50 of those things and got some calls, talked to some people. Still took a while, but I found somebody that, that would come up with $5,000 down. She was a nurse, and basically like I moved out the day she moved in, which was like the 6th of June. And that was what I came to Chattanooga with, was $5,000. Like everything else was basically gone. My wife lost her job back in like January. They laid her off. So like savings was dwindling, all that type of stuff. So yeah, so we came to Chattanooga with $5,000 and a dream.
I love it.
And it, that sounds great. My brother, who was working with me at the time, we were going back and forth to Chattanooga. I would fly up here, and we bought a little duplex sub 2, and he was kind of living in one side of that. But we would just come up, drive for dollars. He stayed here a bunch and was doing some rehabs. But, we really didn't even know anybody, here. On one of my trips, I had contracted this property to buy sub 2 because we were really good at that. But like, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, if you bought houses where, you walk through it and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can make this work. Because maybe you're thinking it's going to be a flip or a wholesale or something. But then like 2 months later, when you actually go back, you see it a little differently. Well, that's what happened. Like, I'm like, well, where are we going to go when we get there? I'm like, oh, we have this house on 30th Street, 3103 East 30th Street, Chattanooga. I'm like, we'll just go there and live there for a little bit until we can figure something out. So we drive all the way to Chattanooga. It's 28-foot U-Haul, my wife, ex-wife, whatever, driving our car. It's me, her, 2 boys, 3 fat dogs. We haul ass up here. We close on the house that day, like that afternoon, and it's 577-mile drive. And then like right at 4:00, then we drive over to this house and just absolutely exhausted. And this is the first time I've been in the house since the day we walked it. And I was like, oh my God, the house, like, it's not the best part of Chattanooga. It's kind of on the more downtown side. And like floors are a little bit crooked, back door didn't close all the way. Like there's a mouse running through the house. One of the electrical poles is broken or something. So only half the power works. It's a 1900s house, no air condition. It's June. Dude, it was so bad. It was
Oh,
everything I
gee.
could do to get like a couple mattresses out of the truck and just get some food for the kids and a portable oscillating fan. And we set it up. And dude, I laid there that night till like 2 a.m. going, what in the hell did I do? Like, this is the worst mistake ever. Like, we had it was a nice house. Like, it was remodeled. It was beautiful. And I'm like, and here we are in this house that's like literally cobwebs. It's like the Addams family. It's just terrible. And that was probably one of the worst moments of my life. Like literally cried myself to sleep that night thinking, I am the worst husband, father, provider. Like, what are we doing here? This is horrible, you know. Tough night, but you have to get up the next day and go, okay, what are we gonna do? Let's figure this out. We're gonna find a way to make some money. And that's, that's kind of how it started, just our back literally against the wall.
Yeah.
Such an uplifting story. What a
Well,
great
no, I was equating it like
You're a good
Yeah.
it's
storyteller.
kind of like when a lot of young guys, they get out of college or whatever it is, athletes, whatever and they make a lot of money and
Yeah.
they just spend it. They never, and people
Yeah.
always talk about those stories, but the same happens in real estate. It's
Sure
like,
does.
I know, I mean, I was there. Like I started in Florida in 2009 when you were leaving for
Yeah.
Tennessee. And so like, yeah, I mean, I remember the market and you heard stories of people losing money, but even me, you make money, you spend it, you make
Yeah.
money. And everybody I know that gets into it, always the same. And eventually they learn. Either they learn from a crash or they just
Yeah.
learn because they get a little older and wiser
Yeah.
and they start saving.
Yeah.
So when you said like, because you were making hundreds of thousands, 50K flip here, 50K flip there, and those
And
rips
we were living
not
great.
impossible.
Like,
Yeah.
life was
I
good.
mean, I heard you were flying. I'm sure
Mhm.
plane tickets weren't a thing, rental cars, hotels, like it didn't
No.
matter to you. And
No,
then
we
you are 5
no.
grand and some mattresses on the floor in a 1900s.
Yeah, and that 5 grand was paid for part of that closing too. And
yeah.
then you've got, we had two boys. They were, I don't know, whatever, 16 and 18 at that point or something. But yeah, you can't, like, you got to have groceries. You got kids want shoes, dogs want cookies, right? Like, you got to figure it out. And
Yeah.
I tried to wholesale back when I was in Florida and it didn't work. It didn't work for a lot of reasons, mostly because I didn't do it hard enough. Like, I didn't need the money. I had a great job. We're flipping. I got cash.
It was harder back then. You didn't have the technology that you do now.
Oh,
Like,
dude, that's a whole separate conversation about people
yeah.
now crying about how hard wholesaling is. I'm like, get a grip, dude. Like, I talk to old guys like Lou Brown. I'm like, because so this is the fantasy, right? I would lay in bed and I'd be like, if I'd have just wholesaled when I got out of college in 1993, but then my brain starts going through. I'm like, well, how would I comp? Like, how would I get properties in front? Like all of that starts. So I asked Lou, and I'm like, Lou, what did you do in the 80s? And you know what he said? He says, we went to the newspaper, and the newspaper would have for rent ads, and it would be by neighborhood or by zip code. He's like, we would comp out of properties that were listed, and then if we weren't sure, we would go out and drive by them all and see, and physically with my eyeballs, we would look at it and go, okay, yeah, this is similar to that. That's how they comped. And we kind of started that way. We were on, oh God, some comping service way back in the day. I can't exactly remember what it was, but it was just data, like no pictures, of course, no nothing. And I would pull up the comps for the property I was going to, but I would have to go drive by all of those properties before I went to mine so that I could make an offer. It's wild.
The MLS systems were, when you said binder, because I was a realtor back then too. When I got into it, and it was like, that's what you would use. You would use binder. Our office would have binders. We had an MLS, but the MLS was so archaic.
Yeah.
It was so slow. And like, so the realtors, we had like this master binder.
Yeah.
And like, it was just,
dude, it's so much work.
It was a lot of work, but you had no data. You weren't going and downloading 100,000 records of data and then getting phone numbers. You needed to have them call you. Like, we would put up bandit signs and have them call, or we would wholesale off the MLS.
Right.
Like, that was because the MLS was actually used back in like 2010, 12 to 15. Like, that was everything was on the MLS.
What they taught the wholesalers at where I went is you would go to meetups and you would get phone numbers and fax numbers. And one of the first coaches,
Fax numbers.
dude, I still have to have a fax here because we
I have
deal
a
with title
fax.
companies. It's wild.
I have e-fax though. I have like
yeah,
e-fax.
it's e-fax, which is stupid because we're still emailing it, but it's got to come across to a bank as a fax. But yeah, one of my first mentors, Jason Rodriguez, he had a girl in the office who every time they had a property would stand there and just bulk fax to all the buyers. And you had a fax machine in your house.
So crazy. Wild. We had a fax growing up. We had a fax machine in our house, like, and we had to unplug it so that way it didn't take our computer.
Right. Remember that old AOL
dial-up? Yeah. Oh man.
So so that's what happened.
So before we get into obviously the transaction side of things and the wholesaling side of things, any advice for? Obviously, we have a lot of people that come into this industry.
Sure.
And wholesale, and there's always that debate. Landlord, flipping, wholesaling.
Yeah.
And you started out in flipping. You had a job, right?
Yeah.
So, like, do you recommend people start out in flipping and have a job, wholesaling, have a job, go all in on it? What are your thoughts?
Man, it depends on the person. I don't ever recommend anybody to do the thing that we did, which was burn the boats and move with $5,000 with a wife and 2 boys and 3 fat dogs. That was the most reckless, irresponsible thing ever. Like, literally, that's why I cried myself to sleep that night. Don't do that. It could have gone horribly wrong. It could have been an absolute abject disaster, and I ended up on food stamps, right? Like, it could have been so bad. Luckily I believed in myself. I believed in real estate. I knew that we could do it. My wife was on board. So don't do that. Unless you're like out of your mind committed. And, a lot of things about entrepreneurs and investors is we are a little bit special. There's something broken in our brain where we can be that laser focused and, just fight through stuff. But no, man, real estate, I tell people it's like being a doctor. Right? You could be the eye doctor, the nose doctor, the ear doctor, the toe doctor, the stomach doctor, the butt doctor, whatever, right? And you have to specialize in something. But in real estate, you can be doing mobile homes, you could do land development, you could do lease options, you could do, rehabs, you could do mobile homes, there's a million ways to do real estate. And listen, no matter what you do, it's going to be hard work. Right? Like the process is simple, but building a business is hard. So the first piece of advice is find something that you really like. Like it's got to resonate with you. It's got to make you want to jump out of bed in the morning. Right. Mm-hmm. And like, I don't want to do short sales. You were around back then. Boring. I literally own a company that basically does stuff like that, but I hire people who love to do it. So I don't have the attention span for that. I'm a yappy for an introverted guy. I would rather talk. So you have to find something that you like to do, so if you like rehabbing, which I actually did, like rehab, if you like going out and talking to people, be a wholesaler. If you just want to look at spreadsheets and evaluate deals, go buy storage units. You know what I mean? There's something for everybody because it's such a diverse way to make money. There's so many ways to do it. So that's the first thing is you really, don't be like, I'm on a wholesale because I saw, some 18-year-old kid laying across the top of a Lambo with his Rolex, and his Jordans or something. What's that?
I said that is how people make their decisions.
It is, but that's why they burn out, right? Or they go in and do one thing and then they're like, then that's all great. And I saw so many people do this because we were at EZREI and every month they would bring in a speaker. And then one month it's it's junkers to jewels and rehabbing, and then it's wholesaling, and then it's storage units, and then Eddie Speed comes in and talks about notes, and it's just boom, 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 boom. And then every month they're buying a different course, and at the end of the year they've none of it works because they don't stick to anything, and then real estate's a big scam. So you gotta find something that really you enjoy doing and resonates with you too. You have to get around people who are doing it every day. That's what Rich Dad Poor Dad said. Be around people, and you got to get a coach or a mentor. That's going to cut your learning curve and compress time so much. I think now. I was on a call earlier, like, the coaching industry is in a little bit of trouble because there's so much free content out there, but free content does not give you advice, when your deal is in the middle of dying. Free content is not giving you the guidance for your particular property. Free guidance isn't, the TikTok videos are not somebody you can call when you're like, oh my God, I need to hire somebody, or oh my God, I need to fire somebody. What should I do?
The accountability.
Right. Yeah. Accountability too. Like, what did you do? Like, so I think that's a kind of a pendulum that swings back and forth. And we'll see where that lands here in the future. But
Did you have one?
I had dude, I've spent easily
No, no,
$250,000.
no. But I mean, when you first started out, like,
Mhm.
did you have one? And
I
was
did.
he
I
was
had a
he for
couple different
free?
ones. No,
No.
nobody's for free. No, I hired this guy. His name was John something or other, and he had like a small group that he would run like 4 times a year, and I think we were meeting at like Denny's or something way back in the day. And yeah, he's the one who taught me how to do Subject 2. And then I hired other mentors, also Sub 2. I had a wholesaling guy that I went to his boot camp and got into his coaching. I did apartment building coaching. I did coaching with Kent Clothier, CEO coaching a couple of years back. Yeah, dude, I've had a ton of coaches. I have one now. So yeah, I think you have to. It literally keeps you on track and makes you stay focused on what the end goal is, right? Because it's so easy to get off track, right? Like I tell people, it's like going on the highway and you're going from Orlando to Jacksonville, right? That's great. You got a straight shot here. I'm going to go to my goal. But what happens? Oh, there's a detour. There's traffic. You get off the highway, and you start meandering around. If you don't get right back on the highway as quick as you can, now you're lost. Right now, you can't get to where you're going.
So true.
Great advice.
Yeah. I think it's. Can you make it without it? Of course. Like you can. It's just harder. Your rate of failure is going to be a lot higher.
Yeah. All right, so let's start transitioning into what you're doing now. So, what's the quick story of how we got to where we are today? Because I mean, you're a great story.
Oh no, that's my problem.
Listen to you.
I should have asked you how long you wanted to go, because I can tell long stories or short stories.
I got all day. I got my waters, my coffee. I
got one here too.
Midnight? Let's go, dude. I got empty bottles by my seat. I'm ready.
When I finish this, I'll be peeing in this bottle. It'll be fine, right?
All right.
So started wholesaling a lot, but ultimately our goal was still to buy rental properties. So we started buying some rental properties. That was great. Bought over 100 rentals. The market picked back up. We started rehabbing again.
What a time! What a time to buy rentals. You were probably picking them up for like 10 grand.
Listen. Yes. Well,
I know, because we were too.
I know. Listen, I bought all of mine on owner financing. I have a 8-figure rental portfolio that I probably have $6,000 in, and most of it's almost paid off now. We did straight owner financing, not sub 2. I mean, I have some sub 2s, but I really targeted free and clear properties. Yeah, but listen, so people tell me that all the time, like, "Oh, you're so lucky." I'm like, bro, we thought the effing world was coming to an end.
You had to have balls to buy
in 2010. I was buying properties with $150, $200 a month cash flow per door, which is nothing. One water heater will eat up a whole year.
You didn't even know if your tenants had the job to pay your rent back then. You didn't know
exactly. So it's not like we were so lucky,
No.
Which goes back to, when's the best time to buy real estate? Yesterday. When's the second best time?
It was
today.
The end of the world. It was literally everybody was scared.
I'm so glad you were it's that somebody remembers this, because I usually tell these stories and people are like, yeah. Dude, Dan Rather came on the nightly news and said, we don't know if the stock market's going to open tomorrow. We don't know if the government can keep operating. Those were scary days. You thought 9/11 was scary. This was scary in a different way. Like I don't know.
Yeah. And when other countries were defaulting on their dollars and stuff, our market would crash. The real estate market would crash. I couldn't even get money from people to buy houses because people didn't think real estate was going to exist. They literally thought it was going to zero.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
bad,
wild.
Dude.
Yeah.
It was bad. And the reason that we were able to buy the way that we did and buy as much as we did as quickly was because we were wholesaling, and we figured that out. We went to a market that, markets are, it's regional, just because the whole country's bad. Chattanooga had probably only dropped 10%, where you saw Florida drop like 40%. So, people were kind of giving houses away. Like, there was not a lot of resistance. We could walk down the street and pick up houses for $8, $10, $12, $15, $20,000. I remember, dude, it was years before I ever wholesaled a property over 40 grand. Yeah. And the day I did, I had a 60,000. I was anxiety over it. Like, I couldn't sleep at night. Now that house is probably 300,000.
Yeah.
But because this market here has just absolutely exploded in the last 10 years. But so we're picking up properties. We started rehabbing again. Had a few different partners over the years, but one of the things that happened is I did have a partner, and he basically handled the front half of the business, the acquisitions and all that front end marketing, and I was handling dispo. And what I didn't realize at the time was the transactions and the closings. And as I got involved and started traveling the country and being at events and then later speaking, the thing that I spoke most about was dispositions. And there was nobody, still really nobody ever talks about that.
Mhm.
But I was probably one of the first big people to do that. And that kind of rolled into a coaching program, which was great. And, and then, people like big wholesalers were just calling me, "Hey, I've got this deal. I can't get it closed. What do you think I should do?" And I was fielding a lot of those types of calls. And then this one time I had this one guy, we were doing JV deals with investors. And this kid, his name was Mario. It was weird. He was in Alaska, didn't speak great English. He was Spanish, and he was doing deals in Macon, Georgia, of all places.
Oh, Macon.
That was his spot.
Macon was, oh my God. I mean, it's nice now.
Yeah.
But if you're talking like 2019 and stuff, like,
So, and at this point, we had a big company. We were running Nationwide Property Liquidators. We were one of the biggest wholesalers in the country. I had, I think, 8 acquisitions people, 5 dispo people. We were cranking. And anyway, so Mario calls one day and I get him. I'm like, "Hey man, how's it going?" He's like, "I got a new property." I said, "Listen," and most times when you JV with somebody, it's 1 or 2 deals and they're gone. So we'd done like 10 or 15 with him. I'm like, "Mario, man, listen, let me ask you a question. I love taking half your deals. It's great. It's fantastic. But why do you keep coming back to us? Why don't you just, now you've made enough money, why don't you just dispo your own deals?" He's like, "Well, I love it. You guys do a good job and get them sold quick." I'm like, "Well, thank you. We're really good." He's like, "But also you handle the title company and I don't have to mess with that." I'm like, oh. And that, that's, sort of like struck something in my brain. And then the next thing that happened was COVID. And you remember COVID happened, everybody shut down immediately, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody let everybody go. And we did move some people to commission only, but we were determined that we would come out of this, and while everybody else shut down, we would spend time training.
You're still operating on your own, right? And just doing a little bit of stuff with other people.
Yeah. I mean, we would do JV deals, but, so what happened then is we're in COVID. We had just moved to a new office that we had signed before COVID started, but I had some other friends of mine who ran big companies. They're like, "Hey man, I've got to remember," because it started right back up on a dime, and people were like, "Hey, I got more deals than I can handle. Can your TCs just help get them closed?" I'm like, "Yeah, I guess so. We can do that for you. We'll just figure it out. I'll charge you something." And those kind of all those things bundled up together said, "You know what? Maybe we should start a business just doing TC work for people." And I was at a big mastermind down in Cancun, and I was talking to like the top 50 wholesalers in the country. And I'm like, "You know what, guys, I'm thinking about starting this company." And I don't know if any of you guys know Corey Geary. He was a big Novations guy. Yeah, Corey, great guy. He's like, "Bro, that is the dumbest shit that I've ever heard of." He's like, "That is absolute brain damage, that work." I'm like, "I know, man, but I think it could work. I think it could work." And he incidentally became one of our biggest clients right out of the gate. But that's sort of where the idea came from and how we got it started. And initially, we're just like, "Oh, we're just going to service like 10 or 15 clients and see what happens." And then, that was in 2001. I launched it at an event down in Miami. And then in 2002, it just exploded. 23, again, like we 4X the company, we 4X'd it again. And then, 2025 or 2024, got a little bit slow towards the end of the year, like everybody with the election and all the stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now we're back to growing again. So that's sort of how it got started. I know you asked for the short version. That wasn't short.
No, it was a great version. I think it spells to the problem you're solving. Why do you think wholesalers don't like transactions management?
Well, it's not our personality type. Right. It's not my personality type. Like I could do it, but it wasn't the thing that I wanted to be doing. I did it out of necessity. And when I was doing it, I didn't realize that there was another way. There was something else. So when I started, right, any coach, guru, whatever book, anything, it's like build a team and you have to find an investor friendly title company. Right. That was the thing. So I get to Chattanooga and I'm going to start wholesaling and I find an investor friendly title company. Now, what does that mean? That means somebody will do an assignment of contract, right? Now it means they'll do an ovation, they'll do a sub 2. Cool. So great. That's what an investor-friendly title company is. But and again, now we're looking at this in hindsight, right? Like all the other stuff. But what was happening is I would take them my deal. Sometimes they would accept it. Sometimes they'd be like, oh, this needs probate. This need, or it's in bankruptcy. We can't close it. So I was literally just trashing contracts that now I know I could go back and could have closed. But what was happening is, like for every independent wholesaler, you find a title company, great. But they email you and they're like, oh, this one, we need a death certificate. Okay, cool. So you're like, no problem. I'm going to stop what I'm doing. I'm going to go get that. And then it's an email. Oh, we're doing a buyer search. We need the last 5 of the social security number. Okay, I'll stop and go do that. Oh, there's, we need, the husband's dead. We need an obituary and a couple of, not disinterested parties. And we need to get affidavits. And, oh, this guy's in prison. You need to figure out how to get this signed.
Oh, the prison one.
Right. The prison. We do at least one prison closing a month now. So, or this person's in Egypt, right? Like, what are we going to do? And like, they would close the deal, but I was still the one doing all the work. Mm-hmm. Right. But it was okay. Right. I'm like, this is how it's supposed to be. This is the investor friendly title company. And it wasn't until we were growing so much that I brought somebody in just to handle transactions. And I realized, oh my God, like, I don't have to do this stuff every day. I can hire somebody, and I hired in Heather, who's my COO now. I mean, she was so valuable. She now runs my companies. But what happened was, now my time was freed up. I didn't realize how much time it was. It was like walking through quicksand. So why don't they like it? Because our personality type is we're builders, we're entrepreneurs, we're generally yappy, right? We want to be out talking and doing deals. That's fun, right? Inking a deal with a seller that you're going to make 40 grand on, awesome. Talking to a buyer and locking in that buyer and knowing you're going to make the money, fun. Finding obituaries, not fun. Running around and getting somebody to sign some weird, wacky document, or figuring out how to get the buy here, pay here lot to give a release to the title company. Like all those things that I was doing, not fun. None of those. It's a different personality. Like if you've ever taken a disc test or whatever, or evaluation, like most investors, we're at the top. We're dominant or influential, right? The bottom side is like accountants and tree huggers. Not that tree huggers bad. Like there's, anyways, but like those kind of thinker brain people. Well, that's that's the other side of the coin. That's not us, right? So that's exactly who we hire here at EZREI Closings. We hire people that love that stuff, that love to make pivot tables and keep track of stuff. If you're the person who your desk is probably a mess, you are not a paper person. You're probably not great at that stuff. So I clean my desk like once a month. I happened to clean it yesterday, and just all I did was restacked everything. But
but that's clean.
So why do wholesalers hate it? Well, because they're not great at it. We're not great at it. We'll muddle through. We'll figure it out. But what do you know about doing a monument of title in Texas?
Yeah.
What do you know? Good.
I was gonna say, do you think wholesalers lose deals because they're not, they're not that type of person and 100%. Not willing to go the extra mile?
It's not that they're not willing; they just don't know.
Yeah.
So here's a story the other day. We had a wholesaler, we have hundreds of clients. They send their contract over and we take over from there. So basically what happens is the contract comes in, and because we're the only company that works in all 50 states, we'll go, okay, great. This is a novation in West Virginia, whatever. So great. So we'll assign it to the right coordinator. All of our coordinators are here in office. There's no VAs, nobody's sitting at home watching Breaking Bad. But, it goes to, I think this one was maybe Laura. And so she calls the seller, and here's how it normally goes, right? On every deal. Hey, Mrs. Smith, I'm working with John on your deal over here at 123 Main Street. Hey, I'm going to be your point of contact from here all the way to closing, right? Because John, I want you to go get your next deal. Go get your next deal. Go sell your deal, right? You're done with all that. We'll take care of it. So we have like this 4-page sort of intake form. And for us, everything about us is compressing time, right? How do we get you paid quicker? And what we don't want is those things that always pop up 2 weeks before closing, because that's when the title company finally looks at it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes, please. Yes. No one understands that. They will sit on that file until the end. And then you're like, oh, wait, you still need an affidavit. And I got 5 people down. You haven't done that yet.
Yeah. So now your business comes to a stop because you're running around doing that. And we all know that happens. Like title companies are so bad. If I had 45 days on my contract and found a buyer day one, they still will not close it for 45 days because they enter it in their computer with your closing date.
Calendar, and that's it.
Right. So anyways, we're going through all this, and, we ask questions like, hey, is Mr. Smith going to be available to sign? right? That's a trigger question for us. Like, no, he's dead. Oh, okay, great. New set of questions, right? So we've actually done 8,000 transactions now and over $500 million in closings. But so we're asking through all these questions, hey, are there any city liens? Are you in bankruptcy? Are you in foreclosure? And she's like, well, yes. Oh, okay. Do you have any information? She goes, yeah, it actually goes to the foreclosure sale in 72 hours.
Oh, sure.
Oh, our investor had no idea because they didn't ask that question. So 72 hours, we stopped the foreclosure. It took 2 coordinators over 20 hours of work to do this. We stopped the foreclosure. The girl who was the investor, she found a buyer, and she's going to make $62,000 on that. She would never have gotten that deal stopped. Never would have happened. And because of that, it's $62,000 that will go into her pocket. This stuff happens every single week here. Every single week.
It's, one of the things when I was wholesaling, it's like, you have wholesalers and everyone's unique in their skill set, right? But
yeah.
And I think a lot of people think they're problem solvers, but not everybody is. Like, it's easy to solve a simple problem, but when you have multiple layers, like kind of like what you were talking about, to stop a foreclosure, it's not just you make one call and it's done. There's a lot of steps you take in between A and B,
on
A and Z. Yeah. It's on a whole nother level. And like there, it's almost like a chess game where you have to plan how you're going to stop this, what you're going to say. And I find, like, when I've JV'd with people in other states, like a lot of these wholesalers, when a title gets too difficult, I've actually had wholesalers say, yeah, we're going to let this file go. It's too complicated. I'm like, well, I'll just do it. Like, this is not rocket science. Like, we just need to do A, B, C, and D, and we need to call. And so a lot of people aren't problem solvers, they're contract getters, which is why it's good. And I'm sure your team, especially with that experience, would you agree, is probably phenomenal at problem solving, connecting dots to get to the end goal.
Yeah. And this goes back to just my experience when I was in the early days when I was working with the title companies. We had a title attorney here in town. His name, his name was Jeremy, but we called him Dr. No because everything was no. And finally, I just had to, it kind of happened by accident one day. I got really pissed off and I'm like, come on, man, what can we do? And then he kind of leaned back in his chair and he's like, well, I guess if you do this, this, and this, you can get this thing closed. And what I realized is I had to ask better questions. Right. And honestly, I had a mentor that told me that, just not in this regard. But so that's one thing that we really instill in the culture with all of our coordinators is you have to ask great questions, right? It's our job to make sure that Brandon's deal gets over the finish line, right? That's our job. Your deal is to find every single possible way, like, to work around the nose. Like, we're not doing anything illegal. Like, we're not doing that. But, the mistake that people make is they're like, oh, I'm dealing with Penelope at the title company. Penelope could have been hired last week.
Yeah, Penelope does not.
And let's be honest, our closings collectively are the worst closings on their desk. The biggest problems, the most number of people, the biggest just crap show it's the worst, right? We used to own a title company, but you want the easy deals, which are the retail deals. The $500,000 deal that was bought 2 years ago that has no liens, bing, bang, boom, in and out. I got to figure out how to pay a realtor, and I'm going to make a big fat commission check.
Not you don't want the trap house that somebody's brother's living in, where grandmother died, the father's estranged, has a baby mama with illegitimate kids, and a cousin that's in the military, and a brother that's in jail, and somebody else who's in the hospital.
Yeah. So and
that happens. So like they're laughing.
An $80,000 house that they're going to make $500 on.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're really motivated to jump through hoops for you.
So again, investor friendly title company. Yeah, they'll put up with our nonsense, but dude, they're not tracking these people down. They're not doing it. They're getting something from their underwriter and they're just forwarding it to you, and they're taking that file and putting it over here. And when you answer all of their questions, then they'll pull that back up and start to work on it. This is why 50% of contracts in the country die. That's a stat from First American, not me.
I didn't know that. But
it's 50%. 50%.
Like I said, too many wholesalers drop deals because they're difficult. And I talked to the one kid, say kid just because he was younger, he was an adult. But I was like, but that's our job. We're supposed to handle the difficult files. Like, that's who we are. Let me ask you something though. When you were talking outside of your title, let's pretend you didn't own a title company for a second. And do you bring them? So if I bring you a deal, right? It's a two-part question. Like, one, let's say I bring you a deal. Are you picking on? I know a title company, but now I'm working with you. Are we using my title? If nothing's opened yet, Do you want to use my title company? Do you have your go-to title companies that you use because, well, you obviously built relationships?
Yeah. We have 500 partner title companies across the country. Why 500? Because there's only 50 states. Well, a couple of reasons. One, not every title company will do everything. They're not all the same. Somebody who does an assignment may not do a novation. And even if they do a novation, they may not do a sub 2. They may do a sub 2, but they won't do like note wraps. And even if they do that, they won't do an assignment of a sub 2, right? Or an FHA assignment, or, you know what I mean? So you need a variety of title companies. Also, when we first started this company, my fantasy, we all have these fantasies. I'm like, we're going to find one nationwide title company and we're just going to work directly with them. It'll be great for my team, great for them. And dude, I have title companies all the time calling me, wanting to fly here and meet with us. And we want all your business. Bro, I've broken 3 nationwide title companies, broken them because everybody says we want the business. I'm like, bro, I bring in 30 contracts a day. Like I promise you can't. So also, even if I have the best title company in Virginia, I'm not going to send them everything because one, my obligation is to you to make sure your deal closes, right? I know we've broken title companies, not just because they can't handle the volume.
I was about to say they can't handle the volume.
No.
Title companies make money, but not enough money to be staffed 24/7 in case David decides to send 30 that it's not, but I've heard a couple big guys always bragging about, oh yeah, we have these nationwide title companies.
There's no nationwide title company.
Yeah.
That's bull.
There's bullshit. Yeah.
There's not one single nationwide title company that's not licensed in all 50 states. Not even First American is licensed in all 50 states. So that's nonsense. Now there are these weird JV agreements, but now I'm sending it over to Penelope. She's sending it to Susie. Who even knows who's got your deal?
Okay, so
it doesn't work.
So my other question then is, so obviously you're getting hired because of, I mean, dude, 500 title, that's a connection. You're networked in. But I am sure you get the ones where, David, listen, dude, I was partnered with a guy who was supposed to get my deal done and he can't find a buyer. We already got title open with Susie over at ABC Title, but like I'm stranded, bro, and I need you. Are you going to now go to Susie? Like I bring you that. Are you taking my deal or are you going to reject that deal because I'm like 10 days or 15 days into my contract?
Yeah. So to kind of get back to your original question, will we work with your title company? Of course, right? That with hundreds of clients, that's how we built up all of our title companies. Is you come in and say, hey, I want to use ABC Title Company. We're like, cool. Like we'll call them and vet them and make sure that they're good. And 80% of the time they are good, right? We advise you to never work with your buyer's title company. That's a recipe for disaster. 50-50 shot. We have the numbers on those deals die. But yeah, I mean, if you bring a title company, we'll work with it. We've had some kids or some clients, they were kids, but they're like, I love this title company. They're the best. We're like, oh, okay, cool, man. We'll work with them. And after like 3 deals, we called them and we're like, bro, these people are they're terrible. If you think they're good, like that's awesome. But let us run a couple through one of our title companies and let us just show you, right? Like, I know you think they're great, but they're not. They're just not responsive. And again, everything for me, I've got to get your deal out as fast as I can because I have more coming in later today. You know what I mean? It's like I Love Lucy. They're on the conveyor belt with the candies. I can't mess around with today's deal because I've got more coming in. So with our coordinators, the minute you've got a buyer, man, we're jamming that thing through closing as fast as we can, as long as the seller's ready and the buyer's ready and all that type of stuff. But yeah, like we're very much about speed and getting these things done.
Will you help me find a buyer?
We do now. We didn't do that before, but God, it was such a request. Like that was probably our biggest request. And we did open about maybe a month ago, we opened EZREI Dispo, where we will JV deals with our clients. So yeah, we do that.
You'll do both,
dude.
So
it took off way faster than I thought. We got like 30 contracts in a week, like from our clients, and I didn't think we would. Like I didn't think it was gonna be as big as it is. So yeah, we're probably hiring for some in-house dispo people now to kind of crank that whole back up, which is cool because I do love wholesaling. So I did miss it a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna start doing that for our clients too, and adding that in as a service.
I wanna use a John terminology here. I don't know if he's gonna ask this question, but like, who's your avatar? John always like avatar.
Avatar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
who is John? John
That's some
Smiley.
Harvard
Like,
MBA
Right.
stuff right
That's what
there.
he's doing.
yeah. Who's your
Yeah.
avatar?
Mhm.
Maybe in the dispo or the title or all around. Like,
Yeah.
who's your avatar that's working with you?
We're always going to bring people in through, through the transactions company, but our avatar, our perfect ideal client is somebody who's doing some business, 1, 2, maybe 3 deals a month, and they realize that they can't do any more. Like literally, if you're by yourself, that's the cap. 3, maybe you get lucky and hit 5 because a couple deals rolled over. Like I'm a good wholesaler, and that was what I could do by myself because there's so much, right? There's the marketing and dealing with the CRM and acquisitions and dispo and then dealing with the title. So people generally cap out at about 3 deals a month. So I'm looking for that person who wants to grow, right? You want to get to 5, 6 deals a month. And then the guy who wants to get from 6 to 10 and then 10 to 20. So that's ideally who we're looking for. And we have a really special plan for those people. That's who our company was started for. And that's great. But we realize there's a limited number of those in the country, right? It's, our industry is a big pyramid. We all know this, right? The real operators are at the top, and probably it's 80-20, right? 80% of the market out there are new people, right? Or people who are only doing this as kind of a side gig and they still got a job, or, they haven't scaled up yet. So we came out with a program, about 2.5 months ago, that's really geared towards those people that are just doing a few deals a year, because they're the people who need help the most. They're really the people.
They don't have the money to hire somebody on staff.
No,
I mean,
no.
at that volume, yeah, especially not knowing your next month if you're getting another 3 or 5.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, our main clients, our subscription clients, they pay a flat fee and, they get a certain number of deals that we do for them every month. And it works out to be very, very cheap per deal. But exactly like you said, the new person who's just coming up or just getting his company started, maybe they don't want to have that recurring bill every single month. So, they opt to come in under one of our other plans, which is great. But we see like a huge ascension rate, because their success is higher because more of their deals are closing. Our clients are closing up to 78% of their files compared to 50% nationwide. That's a 50% improvement, right? So think about that. We're not just talking about, going out and getting more deals. We're talking just close the ones you've got.
Yeah.
Right. This is what real operators and CEOs do. They figure out what lever to turn to, make those deals that would have died, the $62,000 deal, even if it's not 60, let's just say it's 20. And we close one more deal per quarter for you.
Yeah.
Like that's business changing money. That's the stuff that keeps you going.
Love it. So what is it, if you were to give your elevator pitch, or maybe,
Sure.
a really long elevator, what is it that you take off the investors with your service?
It's simple. A lot of people think we're in the transactions business. We're in the peace of mind business. The peace of mind that I don't have to spend 30% of my time doing, transactions and dealing with title companies who probably don't want to work with you. They do it out of necessity. But yeah, the peace of mind that, you can turn your laptop off at 5 o'clock and go have dinner with your kids and not have to worry about it. Or, that you can leave the office at 2 p.m. in the afternoon and, go pick up your daughter from soccer practice, whatever it is. We're in peace of mind that these deals, once you turn them over to us, or that if it's a closable deal, and there are some that just aren't, but that every closable deal will get over the finish line and you'll get paid.
Yeah.
Do I have to worry about communicating with the seller, the buyer, the title company?
No, I mean, you can, everybody who comes in, they're always a little control freaky, but after, usually after about a month or two, they're like, you got this. So with us, communication is so important. The way we started the company, like was a very, very active wholesaler. So everything was built from the point of view of like, what would I want? And I'm kind of a dick, right? Like we ran a very big company. So I said, okay, if we're going to do this, we need to figure a couple things out. What would I want if I was hiring somebody else? Well, one, we'd have to be able to work in all 50 states, right? Because if I'm in Tennessee and Georgia and I'm using this company, but now I got a deal in North Dakota, right? Like I want one point of contact. And Brandon, to go back to your thing, the reason every single Facebook group, somebody's like, is there a nationwide title company? That's the wrong question. What's the question they're really asking? My God, is there just one person I can send my deal to and know that it's going to get done? That's the real question.
They want to focus on sales.
Yeah. So that's the real question they should be asking. So yeah, is there one person I can send my deal to? Is my coordinator going to be able to do all types of deals? Because I did all types of deals, right? Novation, sub 2, assignments, whatever it was. So we knew we had to train these coordinators to be able to do everything. And then, communication. If I wake up at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, how do I know that 123 Main Street is going to close? So we knew we had to create a CRM or a portal or something where you could log in and see exactly what's going on with complete transparency. And then the fourth thing was, how do I know that this coordinator gives a rat's butt about my deal as much as I do? Right? Because we all say nobody cares as much about your business as you do. So, we made sure we're in all 50 states. All of our coordinators, it takes our coordinators 2 to 3 months to get certified. I know there's TCs on every corner now. I feel like we've invented this business, and they took some 6-hour course in somebody's group, and now they're a certified top of the line TC, right? Cool. That's the person you want to trust with your $40,000 deal. You go for it. But I clean those messes up every day. So we wanted certified TCs. We spent a ton of money. You guys know this, what it costs, software costs, but we created a very simple platform where you can log in and see just your deals. And it's a Kanban view. I can see that deal kind of just moving through the process. So that was handled. And then the last thing was, how do I know the coordinator did not or does care, didn't just kind of fluff off on my deal. And we did that one through culture, right? The second thing is everybody works in house. Nobody's sitting at home on their sofa. And then the other way was we incentivize them. I incentivize them when they close your deal, right? They get, their pay is based off of that. And then Heather, my partner's done an amazing job with, creating these systems, and we audit them every week. And we have them broken into teams, and the teams compete for the highest score in audits. And their audit scores are usually anywhere between 97 to 99%. So they're very, very good. And ultimately what happens is, the reason we have such a high retention rate is people don't ever want to go back to doing this themselves. The thing that I hear most often is, David, oh my God, I didn't realize how much time this was taking me until it was taken off my plate and I had all this free time back. And the second thing is, I just didn't know somebody else could do this. I'm like, I know. Me either. Me either, until somebody said hire a transaction coordinator, and I brought one in and I was paying her a lot of money. So we built this company to figure out a way, how do we help more investors? Like, how do we help more people grow their business and solve the problems that it took us a long time to figure out? Because here's the thing. Real estate has given me a life that I do not deserve on most days. I've been able to travel around the world and, be on great podcasts and go to all kinds of great events around the country and speak on stage. And it's been awesome. But if those first couple wholesale deals didn't close, maybe I would have quit. Maybe I'd be back working at a hardware store for 80, 90 grand a year and living that life. So, it's really important to me, and I have a real soft spot, especially for new investors, to make sure that their deals are closing, right? Because I want them to experience all the things that we did, So that's that.
Love it. Why don't you tell people what happens if you scan that QR code? What's it like to work with you? What's that process like?
Thank you, guys. You're going to go to a checkout page, and you can book a call with us, and it's very, very simple. Let's just jump on a call. I promise you, we're the lowest pressure people there ever is. I really want to hear more about your business and what you're doing, whether you're doing one deal or you're just getting started, or you're doing, we have clients who do anywhere from 30 to 40 deals every single month, like clockwork, the kind of the mega wholesalers. Weirdly, they're the people you've never heard of either. They're not the people that are on Facebook and Instagram all the time. We're built to scale with you. No matter where you're at in the process. If you've got a full-time job and you cannot leave at 1:30 in the afternoon, or, stop what you're doing to call the title company, dude, let us take that off your plate. If you're looking for someone to help you JV your deal, we do that for our clients. If you're full-time and you're just ramping up and you're like, how do I get to 6-7 deals a month consistently like clockwork? I want to talk to you. Let me hear about your business. Let me talk to you about how we can do that. And the best thing about us, and this is something that I did in my own business, and this is one of the reasons why, so many people come to us and really stay, is we'll show you how to offset our cost. Like, you're going to pay me, if you're on a subscription plan, you'll pay me on, the whatever it is, whatever day of the month. But I'll show you how to actually turn this into a profit center by charging your end buyer, right? An admin fee. So we'll definitely talk to you about that. So I've got some of my bigger clients that are even doing 10 deals a month that are turning this into something where they can pull back over the course of a year, 30 or 50 grand, right? So instead of making a $20,000 assignment fee, maybe they're making $20,749. And over time, that number really adds up, and they're taking that money and pouring it back into advertising, right? this is how they're growing their business. So yeah, it's if you want to scale, if you want to grow, if you just want peace of mind and less headaches, we are the answer. We're the go-to people for all serious investors in the country.
Love it. So in a situation where you do have to like go out and get signatures, I'm a product guy, but I've been around enough to know, like we were talking about, you got to go to that prison and get that signature. Is that stuff you are all handling?
Yeah. So I think I didn't answer that earlier. Yeah, we take over everything. So remember, Mrs. Smith, hey, we're working on this deal. Yeah, we're going to be your point of contact, all the way till closing. I treat Mrs. Smith like she's my client. We're going to touch base. This is one of our KPIs for our coordinators every single week until it closes, right? Because lack of communication is the death of all deals, and that's how these people get under contract with a bunch of different people. Even if it's every week. Hey, Mrs. Smith, just wanted to let you know we're still on track to close October 15th. Is there anything you need from me? Nope. Okay, if you ever need me, please feel free to give me a call. Same thing too, John. When you upload your buyer, Laura's going to jump on the phone. Hey, Bob. My name is Laura. I'm working with John on this deal over here at 123 Main Street. Hey, Bob, I'm going to be your point of contact from here all the way to closing. I have your contract from John. I'm going to be your coordinator. Hey, it looks like you're closing this in your LLC, so I'm going to need your corporate docs, who's the authorized signer, and you're using a hard money lender, Turnus or whoever it is. Great. Who's your contact over there, so I can call and get their all the information, so that I can get this to the title company to have the mortgage or the deed of trust drawn up. Right? Yeah, we are going to do all those things, and then talk to that buyer every single week from there till closing. We're going to collect all the buyer's information, just all those things that used to always come back to us from the title company. I want to take all of that off your plate. I want you getting more deals. I want you growing, or like sitting on the beach, go to St. Thomas and sit on the beach. But I want you to have that peace of mind that this deal is going to close.
Love it. Very cool. What's next for David Olds? What are you going to keep doing in life?
Man, I love to travel. I do love going around the country. I haven't been to the Northwest, so I'm off for the Rockies. Hopefully later this year, I want to get up into Lower Canada. For the company, we're going to expand out. We've got some exciting stuff coming next year. We're going to get a little bit deeper into the mobile home area. There's so much that goes on with mobile homes and detitling and where we can come in and help those investors in the land business and the mobile home business, work through those things and handling, even though they're not true closings, but like contracts for deed and, escrow services and all of that. So that's probably the next big thing that we're going to roll out next year. Right now we knock on wood. We've been going through about 5 months of just great growth after last year's slowdown with the election. So yeah, we just moved into a new office. I'm in this new studio that's like 1,000 square foot. So very exciting. I feel like we're finally here and everybody's at home now after being at the other office for 5 years. So that took up kind of our big thing this summer, was getting everybody over here and situated. So yeah, that's it. That's kind of our next couple of moves.
Nice. Still in Chattanooga?
Yeah, man, I love it here. When we came here, again, I told you we went to that event where it talked about multifamilies and emerging markets. And I'm like, we'll go to Chattanooga. We'll do deals for 5 or 7 years, which is like a full market cycle. And then, we'll sell off everything and then we'll move to another market that's about to explode and we'll reinvest that money. And, man, I love it here. I don't know if you guys have ever visited. There's like 200,000 people. There. Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Were you really? Oh, damn. I wish I'd known. What'd you come to here for?
My partner, she does freshwater turtle research, and so the worldwide convention was there at the Chattanooga. But we've been before. We used to go with my family.
Where are you at?
I'm in Gainesville right now. I moved from Orlando.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Love Chattanooga. And it was crazy watching, because we went before the tech people started moving in, and then we were like, this is great. We love it there. Great place. And then all the tech people started moving in. I was like, oh man, Chattanooga's blowing up.
Dude,
we had a company trip there one time.
Yeah, that's right. We took an Investor Fuse company trip because I had gone with the family. I was like, Chattanooga's great. We should all go.
Dude, so one of the reasons that I decided to move here, kind of to go all the way back to the beginning, when I was evaluating other markets to go to. So the reason Florida died, right? It's a three-legged stool. So during the recession, construction stopped, right? It was a recession, tourism stopped. The only other pillar in Florida is agriculture. right?
Mhm.
It's farming and oranges and stuff and cattle. So Florida, that's why it collapsed so quickly, because it's so volatile. So when I was looking at other markets, when I looked at Chattanooga, a couple of things. One, it was the first city in the country to have fiber optics to every single house.
Yep.
They actually did it by accident. They didn't even realize they did it. So it was that. Volkswagen had just announced that they were opening their very first production facility in the United States here. And then Amazon was opening 2 fulfillment centers here. One here, one in Cleveland, Tennessee, which is like 20 minutes north. And then, when looking at just the diversity of, I'm doing a little advertisement here for Chattanooga. Don't come here. No, you can't. But as far as industry, we have a very large insurance business here. There's Unum, which is a nation or international insurance company. Blue Cross Blue Shield for the Southeast is headquartered here. And then there's just a bunch of small ones. There's a big confectionery, bakeries are here. Moon Pies, Little Debbie's started here. So all of that, there's all those plants here. So there's a lot of stuff. Brock and Brock Lifesavers are made here, weirdly enough. And then down in North Georgia, we have all of the carpet manufacturers. So there's no where if any one of those industries collapsed, the whole market wouldn't die. And then with the fiber optic, then we brought in Google, and now like the RNC has their server world is here. Like there's just so much. Gary V has his one of his like 3 VaynerMedia. Yeah. So like people see him downtown all the time. So now it's just become this really cool kind of cultural hub. We're always like one of the top 3 outdoor cities in the country. It's just a great place to live. I absolutely love it.
Go visit Rock City.
Come on, baby. That's beautiful at Christmas time.
As it is.
What do you feel is going to change with AI and what you do?
For what we do, man, I think we're a long ways away. Title is not going to be on AI or the blockchain for 20 or 30 years. I don't care what people say.
Oh, wow. That's going to be one of my questions.
No, because here's why. I want you to think about this. There's 3,600 and something counties right across the country. Every single county has their own office and their own elected person and their own 20 or 30 people. And there is zero chance that you're going to get 3,600 people onto the same plan. You can't even electronically file documents in every city, every single county. So we're a long ways from that. It's far too fragmented. Your medical bills will be on the blockchain far before title. And then even beyond just getting that buy-in, what are you going to do with all of these broken, bad, titles where there's a break in the chain of title? Like all of that has to be fixed before you could go on the blockchain. So maybe gradually, it could kind of go on. Maybe certain states could opt in, but I think it's a long ways away. And so much of what we do, I was on a joint podcast yesterday with some AI companies, and they're like, there are lots of things AI can do. They can generate leads for you by just sending out reminder texts and stuff. But AI does not have empathy, right? It just can't get on the phone and do like acquisitions, right? I just don't think we're quite there yet. Maybe we will in another 5 years. It's advancing so quick. But, on our side where it's tracking people down, making multiple calls, getting them on there, convincing them that, hey, we need to collect these documents. I just think that's a little ways away. Could it happen? Yeah, maybe. Like we're always looking for how can we pull these things into our business to make our coordinators have a bigger bandwidth, right? Instead of handling 50 files at a time, how do I get them to handle 100? So there are definitely some automations and things that we can put in there, but I don't think it will do away with everything that we do, because this is still a people business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should definitely be putting all of your problem solving into an AI RAG system. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. I definitely, it could be like a great resource where, we could bring in people and train them quicker. But for it all to be automated, I don't think that's going to happen. We have such trouble getting a hold of. Think about the people that we deal with. The people we deal. This is kind of going back to when I was here in Chattanooga. My title agent after every closing should be like, David, she'd call me. Where do you find these people? Dude, you know how many people I deal with where we have to actually send them like authorizations to release information and they send it back to us. Like the world is not, we're there because we're doing all of this, but like not, what do they say? Like AI is only adopted, like ChatGPT is only adopted by like 5% of the world. Like we're not there yet.
Oh, yeah.
I think it could be generations before, the people who are just going into kindergarten now, as adults are adopting it. But even kids now, like they're just parts of the country where it's not important. They don't care. So I think we're a couple of generations away from that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the people that we do, right? You guys do lead gen. What do? We go out and we stack problems, and especially foreclosure people. They're getting calls and blown up from mortgage brokers and refinance people and agents and investors. Like, it's hard to get a hold of these people, And as good as AI is, my thoughts are, I think everything in life is a pendulum, right? It swings from one side to the other, politics from one side to the other, just everything, right? And I think there's going to be a swing towards AI, but then I think there's going to be like people want to deal with people.
Yeah.
If you remember, like
humans.
Yeah, Demolition Man, Sylvester Stallone, and
I remember that.
Wesley Snipes, great, awesome, great movie. But like people were like, we want to deal with people. Like when they start, like, oh my God, I just want to deal with people. So yeah, I don't know that that's ever going to go away, but I do think there are certain things that can definitely be automated, and that's definitely something that we're starting to plot out now. Is how can we bring more of that in to be more efficient, right, and to do a better job for our clients.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Cool.
I'm all out of questions. That was a phenomenal conversation. It was great to learn about your journey. I could listen to you talk about your stories all day long.
Oh gosh. People in my office are like, please just shut up. We're tired. My partner, she's like, I could go do your story if you wanted. I'm like, man, you can if you want. It's the weird thing about it being 23 years is it almost feels like another lifetime. Like all of those were like a couple of different lifetimes. All true, all happened. But, thinking back on that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was just so long ago. When we were buying that first house, or I was having a panic attack, in, Orange City, Florida, when I was getting my first sub 2 and all that type of stuff. But it's good to remember kind of how that was, because that's what new people go through every day, so I always try to, remember that and just be accessible and try to help wherever we can.
Yeah. Relatable too. Like you look at where you are today and it's like you had a beginning, and everybody can have that beginning. Nobody
is born, doing 10 deals a month and, having the Bentley in the garage. Like we all start someplace. And, the problem is you get some people, they forget that and they get a little bit arrogant and, they start, these people like, nobody should wholesale. You should just close every deal yourself. I'm like, yeah, man, I get it. That's where you're at now. I can close every deal myself. Like I have a relationship with lenders and have my own money, but that's not where new people start. New people start at the bottom, most of them broke, because the great thing about real estate is it's awesome, especially wholesaling. No matter who you are or what you have, tall, short, black, white, purple, whatever, whatever your religion or politics are, you can come into wholesaling with no money down, with a piece of paper and a pen, and go lock up a deal and make $20,000. That's the great thing about real estate. And so many people come into this business because they're looking for something else. There's something inside them that says, I can be more. I can do more. I can create this thing. And that's the beauty of real estate and what it creates for all of us.
Love it.
Yeah. Very true.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here today. Go scan that QR code to learn more about peace of mind in your transactions process.
Peace of mind. There you go.
A spot that everybody needs it in this community.
Do we have a quick time for the last question or no?
Oh my gosh, I forgot about
it. I shot through the Investor Fuse Slack channel.
Thank you.
I'm very curious to see what David has to say here.
All right, let's go.
All right, hang on. I was not prepared because I forgot.
Carlos has nothing until the end, and he's dropping the bomb.
Yeah, dude, I had some stuff, but dude, you were just flowing. I'm also just congested as heck this week. Man. But dude, you were just flowing. I had some stuff. I'm like, man, he's just rolling. I love it.
All right.
Hit me. Here we go.
Carlos, you take the honor on this one.
Picture the movie Gladiator setting wise. You're in the arena. Your job is to pick 2 of these that are going to be fighting with you. They know the mission. You guys can communicate. They know what the mission is. They're there to kill everybody else. Everybody else is against you. The choices that you have are 50 bald eagles, 10 crocs or gators. John will correct me there.
No, crocodiles.
3 grizzly bears. 7 bison. 1 sniper. That's just right next to you. He doesn't have a vantage point yet. He's right next to you. He's right
Unlimited
next to
ammo.
a crazy bandwagon. Unlimited ammo, but just single shot, semi-automatic sniper. 15 gray wolves, 10,000 rats.
New York City rats, bro.
10,000 New York City rats, 5 silverback gorillas, or 4 lions.
And
You guys
all the rest are coming
start
for me.
Yeah.
All the rest are coming for you. That you start on one side of the arena, they start on the other side of the arena.
All right. I'm going to take the rats.
Love it.
And the Eagles. Rats and the Eagles.
Wow. Dude,
Same
this
as
is
me.
the second person that has picked, the guy the other week or whatever picked the Eagles too, I think.
Yeah. So the rats, interesting story. Back when I was younger, I used to train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and spent a lot of time with Hickson Gracie. And his thing was he had a bunch of animals on these T-shirts, and everybody would do the same thing. They would pick, and he's like, I want the rat. Why the rat? The rat will literally chew off its own arm to keep fighting. Like rats they're literally indestructible. They can squeeze through anything. 10,000 rats will just overwhelm any of those things. Like the shooter's not going to shoot 10,000 rats. Like he'll run out of bullets long before. And 50 bald eagles who can come down and literally just pick at people as the rats are hitting them from underneath. Yeah, crocodiles are going to be tough, but I still think the rats and the eagles. Yeah,
I love it.
That's strategy. That's the best strategy I can come up with there.
I know, but then at the same point, you have the sniper I guess you're assuming the rat's going after everyone, but you got these grizzly bears.
Yeah, but literally 10,000 rats too can just consume you. Like,
I mean, you would have to have 1,000 rats per bear, per wolf. I mean, you're going to run out of them. You're going to run out of rats.
The sniper's going to run out of bullets, man. How many bullets can you possibly have?
I'm not worried about the sniper.
No.
My biggest concern is like I got these grizzly bears coming at me.
Yeah.
I got bison charging me. I always pick the rats. So the rats are my go-to.
Yeah.
And then at first I was with the silverback, and then I started cheating, and I started like Googling and like, because we asked this question a lot, and then I was like, okay, well, then I learned like the bison.
Yeah.
The force of them.
Yeah.
Can really like trample over the rocks. They can run through and start destroying these wolves and bears.
When you first popped it up there, I was going to go with the bears, and then I realized the quantity there. But really, I was looking at the sniper. Who's the sniper going to have the hardest time with? You know what I mean? The snipers
and the rats.
Yeah, and the rats, right? The sniper's going to take out the bear with a shot through the eyes, right?
Yeah.
So, and same thing with the bison. Like he's going to take those out. And then I've only got 2 left, and then I've got 1 left, and then I have 0 left. So yeah, it just came a sheer force of numbers for me.
It's a good logic.
I like the logic of what you're doing there.
I mean, I don't know that there's the perfect answer. I think people could make a point for any of them.
Yeah.
Maybe you get 5 gorillas, and they're just going to overwhelm the sniper.
They're not. I ChatGPT'd it. The gorillas are not the best answer. They have nothing. The bison will kill all 5 gorillas and the bears. The lions. I mean, I think you made the right choice with the rats. It's the eagles that's like
just coming down with their talons. Have you ever seen an eagle's talons, dude?
I mean, I haven't in person.
Oh, Google that. It's scary.
I feel like at the same point, somebody needs to turn this, like maybe we get like some death row inmate, like in order to get, you know what I mean, to not be, lethal injected. We put them in a Coliseum and we try this out. Like I think that would be New Age gladiators.
Yeah.
Going back in time to Coliseum.
Gladiator talons
I'm saying it, I'm like, I'm pretty sure they already did this in ancient Rome.
Eagle talons, dude, will just come down and just rip at your skin. They'll just tear you apart. And 50 of those, dude. Oh,
yeah. 50, you think about 50. I get where you're going. No one's ever used the quantity argument before.
Really?
We did have somebody who was very familiar with the gray wolves, and he picked them. He explained to us
the bison. We've had someone that lived with bison, and we have had people talk quantitatively about the rats, but no one talk about the ferocity of them, which I didn't realize. I know they're nasty little things, but no one's had the context or backstory of having them on a T-shirt for gnawing off their own arms to
dude. I mean, they're just unstoppable. They're they just keep surviving. Yeah, I mean,
Let's
what do you
just
kick
hope
it?
it never comes down to this. Let's
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
hope,
Yeah.
let's hope we don't have an end of the world scenario.
Well, guys, that's a great question. I love that. Not what I was expecting. I was like favorite book or something like that.
Yeah, we
Very
like to
unique.
keep it a little different. So
I love
I
Yeah,
don't
we
know.
like to see people's thought process. But David, dude, thank you so much for hopping on, man.
Appreciate it,
You've been on
guys.
a
It was
list
a
for
lot
a
of
while,
fun.
so good stuff, man.
Yep.
Cool.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Thanks,
I
guys.
appreciate you guys.
See you all around. Thank you.